Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us again for another episode of KUGI and we're going to talk about something not the usual. In fact, when I mentioned this to Mel, she told me, how is that relevant to your show? And what we're going to talk about today is conflict. As we know, opposites attract, but the same signs repel. We are so much alike. We do get into conflict frequently, but despite that, we are still friends today, and it's been more than 15 years. Please welcome my good friend, AMOR.
Hi, Kai. What's up? How are you?
Good. Thank you, More, for joining us today.
Happy to
All
join.
right. Okay, great. So I guess if you're able to talk about how we became friends, what our friendship has been like for the past 15 years, just to get an overview. And also, please tell the audience about yourself, just for them to get to know you.
Yeah, all right. So Kai and I started, I think 15 years or maybe more than
Yeah, more than.
years ago. Yeah. So started in high school, first year actually. And we served actually in front of the altar. We were ladies of the altar. That's how we met. And that's how we started. And then we became bandmates. So that actually what got us closer. And at the same time, got to like really know ourselves because like what she said, opposite attracts, but the same polarity repels. The same kind of perseverance, loyalty, and such. Actually, that causes us to butt heads sometimes. Good thing we have friends that are dissimilar to us. So they were the glue. They were the glue. Yeah. And currently, I'm working as an executive assistant in one of the companies here in the Philippines, and I'm also doing a bit of a band on the side. And yeah, that's what I do.
Just to give you guys an overview, I say that we are the same because our personalities, we like to lead and then provide direction to the group. And when you think about a car, right, there's only one driver. It can't be two drivers. There's one driver and then a passenger. So sometimes when we were young, there is communication gap, I would say, because when we would play a song, like, okay, who's the leader? We never talked about that. I think we just wing it, as we play the song. So what would you say more? I did mention how we're the same because we like to lead. What are the other reasons why you think we disagree on several occasions?
I know it's about having strong opinions. We never very authentic to a point that sometimes might be hurtful or it might have caused conflict instead of providing clarity. So for us, it's just a way for us to let you know. If there's this thing that I don't really like, and that's what it is. We just don't really lie. We're just very authentic. But it turns out with our age and maturity, it's actually hurtful. We were not very emotionally intelligent at that time. So it does come across as hurtful. So I think that's one thing. And I think we tend to compete about the things that we know. Like, I do know about this stuff.
Please tell that.
Yeah, so it's funny because actually we're saying the same thing. But it seems like we're saying the different thing, but we just go the same direction. It's like, later on, like, yeah, that's the same thing we're just talking about. But we're just having, because of our different fields, you are in like the medical field, I'm in the administrative side. It's actually, it's expressed dissimilar. I mean, not the same, but it's the same thing. So it's funny how we get to that.
I get what she's saying, guys. I think like to reframe it, we're getting to the same destination, except we're going different routes. She's going to the right, I'm going to the left.
Yeah, exactly. But we still get there.
That's really good. Yeah, we still get there. The moments when we were young, the moments that this was really evident was when we were playing in a band. Because let's say we're playing a song, right? And we're trying to get the notes out of the song and try to play the instrument to make that correct sound. We usually, especially Amor, she's really good at listening, and she would say, but this is how you play it. And then I would say, no, but this is how you do it, but still arrive to the same, still able to make that sound really good in terms of like overall performance. You did mention more about our friends who serve as a glue. So are you saying, for example, in a band, let's say we are just a 2-person band, you think we'd still be friends today without those other friends?
We did have a conflict before, Kai, and it was funny because I'm really sure. We were in second year of our high school and we had a conflict. We didn't speak for like 3 days, I think. But the reason we got to talk again was that because we were asked by one of our teachers to get like a pot for cooking. And that's how we got started to talk again. So when you say if we did end up being in a 2-man band, you and I'm sure we're going to fight. I'm sure we're going to butt heads. But I think just 3 days after, we're still going to reconcile because we just know that I know he was just being logical. She was being just logical and I was just being me. And I get to the part where I'm very emotional. So I get the logic out of things. After 3 days, we just patch up just naturally. But it does sometimes take another person to come into the picture to get it glued together. But for me, it never was something personal. It was purely for me. Even when I think back, it's immaturity. I think it was like, we're just, why are you saying this? this is how, like what you said, this is how it should be played, but you're more of the logical side because you study things based on what you see, based on a book. There's a basis, while I just like wing it. Yeah, this is how it feels, this is how it looks. So it's the same thing, but it's still we're arriving the same way, but different approach. That's what it is.
Yeah, Amor is very right because Amor is self-taught. Like she taught herself to play the instruments. For me, I went to like school for it. It's not like a formal school. It's just an extra thing I did on the side. So I get what she's saying, that I was too theoretical, whereas she is being practical. Thank you for reminding me that. I think I remembered the pot. I think the other thing too is we understand that there's, for example, in the context of a band, there's a task that needs to be closed out. Do you feel like that way? I feel like while it's true that we need people to somehow have you and I come in contact again, but I think because we are so task-oriented or goal-oriented that in our minds, in the context of playing a song, we need to get this song finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have conflict, but this needs to get done.
Sure, that's true.
Yeah.
So I think that's also why we at the end of the day, we get to where we want to, because our minds, both our heads are into that goal, and regardless of like what happened in the middle, we want to get where we want to because we have like a show or something in a few days, and we need to show up, and we're that kind of people or person. Like we need to show up and do the thing. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's very powerful. I do feel like, so this is how we act. Amor and I, when we were in high school, pretty young, right? When you think about it, if we did not like anything, like right at that second, what you said, what you did, we would say it right there. But we only do that towards each other. I feel like we got to an understanding that I can say anything to you, you can say anything to me, and we do have a pattern in our relationship. I do feel comfortable doing that. Do you feel the same, or you feel like now, 15 years later, more than 15 years later, that you may act differently?
What my thoughts are is that I could only do that to you. I know you can handle it. So, when I'm being honest, or I'm just being, that's the level that we're at. So if I do it to anybody else, I don't think I'll get the same reaction. Or if I need to have that level of comfort and trust that you are able to handle it, to be able to do the same thing that I do to you or to our friends. So I do apply a different approach now that I learn about like emotionally intelligent person. I do change my approach to whoever I talk to, because before I just this is what I think about. I don't care how you feel, but you have to. It matters how you say things to how they will accept it. So yeah, it does. That does matter how you say it.
Yeah, I think, but for us, I can relate to that. You are very measured when you're saying things to others, but for me, I think so. You're saying you're just comfortable. Like you won't be as measured. You just tell it to me like.
I think before it will be too straightforward, not thinking about things. But I think right now, even with anybody, I'll measure what I say. What I'll do is I'll think about what I say before I say it. But I'll still do that the same with you. Because I know right now that even if, for example, I said something that you might not agree with, and I do the 14-year-old, 15-year-old self that I did to you when we were those kids, I'm sure you're not going to be happy. So now, maturity hits, experience hits us, I'm still going to be authentic to you 100%. But I'm going to say it differently, because I know even if you accept it, it's still going to sting you if it's something that you might not agree with. So basically, how I treat you is not going to be different, but how I put it out will be different, because now I know better.
I like that. Do you feel like in our group of friends, our experiences in the past, do you feel like conflict is usually frowned upon? Like it's not good to have, or people try to avoid it as much as possible, more than we do, because of its negative implication? And do you think it's really negative?
For our friends, it does take a role on how we lasted this long. Because I'm sure, our other friends, I'm sure we don't agree in all the things. And I'm pretty open about saying it. But now I have been sensitive of how it's going to land on the other side. It's very important to be comfortable with conflict, because it's not about the conflict, honestly. It's about being able to talk about uncomfortable things. And you don't want to hide into a facade that looks really beautiful, but behind it are the very dirty stuff in your mind you're not talking about, in the one day you explode. And I think it's similar to work or any type of relationship. You need to be able to talk about something very uncomfortable that your partner, your friend may not be, you might not like it. Because at the end of the day, if you want to last long or able to get things done, you have to be able to talk about uncomfortable things. It may look like conflict, but actually you're just trying to fix something or get something out there, because it matters in the relationship.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying about being comfortable about it. And if you want it to last, there is no substitute for being open and authentic and trying to, my experience in the past, if I am for example, hesitant to say what I think of the situation, it usually means I don't value the relationship that much.
That's how we are like, yeah. That's
Yeah, we're
exactly.
the same. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
because I don't value the relationship, then why would I need to say anything when there is no need to get into that? Versus if I value the relationship, then I really have to say something. Otherwise, this, whatever I'm thinking, might come out in a completely different scenario. Like you'd bring up something that's not even relevant to the current day because I never said it, in the past.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important but to your point, when you said you think about how it will land to the other person. How do you do that? Do you just literally pause or you wait days to be able to express that? How quickly do you manage yourself to be able to communicate to the other party?
It's funny that you asked that, Kai, because I have been in constant. I'm very introspective about my emotions or how I react or say things right now, unlike before. I'm not really like this, but it does take me 3 days. Like what I said, 3 days, it does matter. Like I do pause and wait out because I do know I have that level of emotion that will come out wrong if I immediately just say it. But another person actually told me that I am emotionally, I'm emotionally hurting somebody if I take time to say anything to another person if I'm upset or frustrated about it. But for my opinion, it does matter to me to wait it out because words coming out of emotions might be something that I will regret later on. So I do wait it out. But I have to tell the person, you know what, Kai, I'm actually really upset about you, but I can't really say it right now because I need to think about what I'm going to say. But I want you to understand if you could give me some time. Like, can we talk in a couple of days? Can we talk later on? Because I wanted to say it to you properly, as sensitive as possible, or as I want to say it that after I have thought about it. Because for me, I sometimes do not understand how I feel. I'm not sure if everybody is like that, but I do have a tendency of being in a situation I don't really understand how I feel about it. And then a couple of days after, I was actually upset about this because of this. So I have to name it out loud before I say it to you. Because might be something that I will regret, and I just don't want, like what you said, if the relationship is important to me, I will tell you. But if it does not, if there's no space for that relationship in my life, I'm just gonna let it go. I'm not gonna even analyze it. I'm just gonna let it go. It's a weight in my head, or it's taking time in my mind. So no, I'm gonna let it go. But if it's important to me, I'm gonna make time, analyze what happened, think about it, and then tell you because it matters to me.
Did you read that off of a book, or you just figured this out on your own?
Not really, but I did hear some vlogs or posts. I forgot what it is. Like it's just passing on my reels or whatever. But I do take time to think. And especially when I moved out, that's what the things that I've learned about myself. It's like it takes me time to think about what I feel. And then if it's important to me, I tell you. But if it's not, bye. Whatever.
I like that. I actually learned from you what you said on, like, you can literally tell the person, I'm upset about this right now, but I want to make sure that the message I'm going to tell you really is the true message and it comes off correctly and that I consider your feelings as well. I think doing that helps settle your emotions. At least you've let something out, but not go haywire on that information. Yeah, thanks for that, More. And so how is it? Do you think, so the show is called KUGI. How is KUGI related to this?
You KUGI on.
KUGI is hard work, right? For the audience, KUGI is hard work. How is KUGI related to what we're talking about today? What do you think?
Working hard or working on yourself, on your thoughts and emotions. You have to have that time and space in your life to actually analyze how you feel. And it's hard work because it's not as easy. It's sometimes very confronting to a point that you might just, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to distract myself time and time again and not really face that. And then in the end, you find yourself buried in all those emotions. So it's really hard to confront something within you. I'm not sure if everybody feels the same, but it's very hard sometimes to stop and think about how you feel and actually acknowledge it. Because sometimes I might be in the wrong, and that's hard and that's painful maybe. Well, that is painful for me because I did wrong, but I have to really put an effort on analyzing my emotions because that would definitely come out somewhere physically or emotionally in a relationship. So yeah, it is hard work and it is very confronting.
And to give credit to Amor, even though it's painful, I noticed that it's actually in our circle of friends, it's easy for us to own our errors. Do you agree that we do that? Like each of
Yeah.
us, we do say, I'm sorry easily and make adjustments based on that. So with hard work and your acknowledgement that conflict is important to strengthen the relationship, what would you say is another value that would be relevant in conflict management? Is there another value that you hold closely in order to be a better person? Because this show is not only just about careers and things like that. This value of conflict management can be in any relationship.
I was just right now. I was thinking of really about being authentic or honesty. Like, there's no going around this, but just being honest. Like what you said, in our friendship, we want to own up, or we do now own up to our mistake. But I'm sure when we were kids, we'd like to push shit. Like, no, it's not me. Like, we don't own it up. As we get older, we become more honest with ourselves and say, yeah, I was in the wrong. Sometimes it's not anymore about emotions, or actually, yeah, it's not about emotions now. It's about being logical and looking at the situation, because I might be hurt about maybe what you did to me, but at the end of the day, if I look at it, I was part of that mistake, and it needs that level of honesty to yourself to actually own up to that situation or to the error. Even now with work, even now with for example with my mom, she is upset with me for something that I did, but I want no, I didn't do that. But later on, when you analyze it, and for me it does take time, but when I analyze it, I would say, yeah, I did mess up with that, and I should own that. So honesty to yourself and to others is important.
Because you're honest to yourself and to others, would you say it's easier for you to forgive yourself and then forgive others at the same time? Or
To myself,
it's hard?
It's hard for myself to forgive myself. It's a task. It's a task for me, because I'm not sure if you are, but I'm sure you are. You're also
Yeah, I
perfectionist.
agree. It's hard. I'm hard on myself as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
are harder. And I was also told by one of my mentors, like, don't be hard on yourself. I know this thing happened, but I'll tell myself at the back of my mind, like, yeah, but I did do that, and that caused things and everything. So we understand that we are not perfect, but that's just the logical side of us. We're more of when we are honest, we think, oh, I should have done it better, because that level of perfectionism, what we want to make sure that we do things right, and that's why I feel like I can't easily forgive myself, even though logically I can't turn back time, do things right for that. I can only move forward and do the things that I do correctly forward. So yeah, but with others, I do tend to sometimes give time. I'll be honest. It's not that I don't forgive people, but it does, because of how I process my emotions. It does take time for me to like let it go. And again, I try to use my logical side rather than my emotional side to thinking. I would acknowledge that I still feel the hurt, or I still am frustrated, or I still am not comfortable with this person. But I'd be more logical and say, I know that this person did this because of, or they didn't really mean it, or things like that. I'm just really using my logical, but emotionally, like, I'm still like that.
You're almost like doing the dialogue for the other person in your head.
Just fighting with my own self.
Pretty much. And I want to end this talk with saying the word hapsay. Hapsay means in English is well planned, comfortable, and then smooth, I should say.
Exactly,
I think that's the most smooth. Would you say hapsay is smooth more?
Yeah, smooth, and like
Smooth.
how you have put it into context, well planned. So that's why it's
Well
smooth,
planned.
because it's well planned.
Yeah. So I think sometimes, like for me and Amor, because we want hapsay, smooth, when a disruption occurs, when we see the path clearly, that's when we have all these emotions. But I learned something this week, and I would like to share it to you more. Another friend told me, I know why you're upset, she told me, and that's because you want everything hapsay,
Yes.
which it doesn't
That
need
can't
to be.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of having the relationship. That's the fun, to be accurate. That's the fun in the relationship, to be able to work through situations which are not hapsay. All right, see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed our talk, and we're going to talk to Amor again sometime in the next season and together with our other friends. Thank you so much, More.
Thanks, guys.
That's really good.